Welcome to Alpha Insights. I'm Adam. Today we're unpacking the big tech headlines from Saturday, May 23rd, while US markets were closed. Remember, the last trading day was Friday, May 22nd, and trading resumes Tuesday, May 26th. And hey, if you have questions as we go, you can ask us at stockalpha.ai.
Thanks, Adam. Great to be here. So much to cover, from a fast-growing Berlin startup to renewed security worries and a mixed result on a major space test.
Let's start with the startup, Peak. I saw a headline that they more than doubled revenue. What's actually happening there?
So, Peak is a private company out of Berlin that builds tools to measure how brands show up inside AI-driven search results. The big point is demand. Companies want to know how generative search surfaces their content. Reporters say Peak's annualized revenue climbed to about $10 million in just a few months, which signals commercial traction for third-party analytics in this new AI search layer.
Interesting.
I mean, the reason this matters is practical. Brands and marketers can't rely on platforms alone to tell them how they're being represented by AI. So startups that provide measurement and monitoring are suddenly valuable. Analysts note it's less a one-off trend and more about an emerging category of tools.
Right. And this ties into what Google showed at its developer event, yes? There were some growing pains with AI features in search.
Exactly. After the event, Google leaders talked about TPUs, agents, safety, all the infrastructure for bigger AI features. But reviewers found examples where the new AI overviews returned irrelevant content. That highlights rollout risk. Product quality and user trust matter a lot. So even though big platforms are pushing generative features, adoption can be uneven, and fixes will be needed.
Okay, so momentum on one hand, quality control on the other. Now, security and ethics. There were two headlines that seemed pretty concerning. New documents about SolarWinds, and researchers reconstructing pilots' voices with AI. What's the fallout there?
The FOIA filings suggest that during the SolarWinds breach window in mid-2020, some Treasury.gov email addresses may have been exposed for several months. That revives supply chain risk conversations, and it could prompt congressional or agency follow-ups and more disclosure requests for vendors and service providers. Separately, researchers used AI to reconstruct pilots' voices from old recordings, and that prompted the Transportation Safety Board to temporarily block access to a docket. Those stories reinforce that security and ethical concerns aren't academic. They have regulatory and reputational implications for companies handling sensitive data.
That's worrying. How should listeners think about that from an investment perspective?
Analysts note these risks can affect sentiment and prompt increased compliance costs. It's not a single number you can point to. Impact varies by company exposure, vendor relationships, and how transparent firms are with customers. So the practical takeaway is to watch for disclosures, regulatory inquiries, and any vendor-level explanations in the coming weeks.
Switching gears, SpaceX ran its Starship V3 test. Mixed outcome, right?
Yes, the rocket completed liftoff and the main stage events, but the booster failed on return. So operationally, it was mostly successful, but not perfect. These incremental wins and setbacks matter for suppliers, for public sentiment about commercial space, and for any related regulatory checks. FAA reports or the next flight date will be worth tracking.
And retail. Memorial Day discounts were mentioned. Anything investors or shoppers should note?
Retailers like Best Buy and Amazon had steep discounts on storage and speakers. For example, a 2 terabyte Corsair solid-state drive was advertised at more than 60% off. For shoppers who need hardware, those deals can be good. But for the broader picture, persistent price competition in storage and peripherals can pressure hardware makers' channels and margins. Timing matters too, since similar sales reappear around big holidays.
Honest, I was a bit surprised by that SSD discount.
Same here. It shows how quickly inventory and pricing dynamics can move in consumer tech.
Before we wrap, a quick practical checklist for listeners heading into the long weekend and the next trading day on Tuesday, May 26th.
Sure. Watch for product fixes and public timelines from big platforms around AI search. Track any disclosures or congressional interest tied to the SolarWinds FOIA filings. Follow SpaceX updates and FAA commentary. And keep an eye on channel pricing and promotions that could signal margin pressure for hardware suppliers. And remember, this is informational only, not personalized investment advice.
Great. 2 quick reactions?
Go for it.
Interesting.
Right.
All right. Closing with 3 quick takeaways for listeners.
Peak's revenue jump suggests real demand for AI search measurement tools. Product quality and trust will shape winners. Security and ethics developments. Think SolarWinds and AI voice reconstruction. Keep regulatory and reputational risks front and center. And retail discounts on hardware signal ongoing price competition that could show up in vendor channels.
If you have questions about anything we discussed today, you can ask us directly at stockalpha.ai. We answer listener questions live. And for more market insights, head over to stockalpha.ai. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you when markets reopen on Tuesday, May 26th.